Over 55% of people in North America today live paycheck to paycheck. Are you tired of being one of them? Do you feel like no matter how hard you work, you never seem to get ahead financially? Well, today it's time that you learn the 7 money rules that the rich don't want you to know. Together, we're going to uncover the secrets that the rich use to build and maintain their wealth, from understanding the power of their most precious resource to the importance of reducing debt. You're going to learn the strategies that the rich used to use to achieve financial freedom. Plus, at the end of the video, you're going to get the 3 easy steps that you can do right now, here today, to start becoming more rich. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of that. And here we go with rule number 1, the rule of utility. So the role of utility in an economic term is about using money and how people always choose to use money in a way that they believe will bring them the most satisfaction. This goes for rich, this goes for middle class, this goes for poor as well. But for wealthy individuals, that may mean money being used to purchase different things, different investments, maybe some pleasure items, but they use money a lot of the time for long-term investments, business venture that brings them long-term satisfaction or financial gain. For people with less money, the rule of utility often has them using money for necessities such as day-to-day items as food, housing, and healthcare. And they can also use money for less expensive forms of entertainment. And the thing that rich people really understand about money is that it is a utility kind of tool. It's used to get something. It's used to purchase things, nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't rule and consume their lives, which it does with some of the middle and poorer class. It's just there for a purpose, to buy things that they need or to invest with. That's why the rich people understand this rule and benefit from it. Next up is the rule of time, and rich people get this one in spades. They value their time as their best resource because they understand we all have a limited amount of time on earth, and they use this kind of time to invest in activities that will either generate more wealth or more happiness or strengthen their relationships. They also, yes, do have more resources at their disposal and can afford to kind of outsource tasks and get some of their time back because they have the financial means to do that. But this also is an exchange of money to free up more of their time to focus on activities that actually bring them more, again, wealth, health, or satisfaction in their lives. On the other hand, people with less money may not have the same luxury of valuing time the same way right now, but because they're focusing on making kind of ends meet day to day, they don't have the time to spare on other things like education or improving themselves or even investing right now. But if they have the opportunity to kind of increase their income, they can use that income kind of difference to kind of buy back some more of their time, building up their asset base to the point where they can get more and more of their time back and start outsourcing tasks just like the rich people do. Rule number 3 is called the rule of protection. And rich people understand that when it comes to money, they have to protect what they've invested in, what they're kind of bringing to the table. So they have to protect themselves, they have to protect their portfolio as well. And they have to understand that any kind of volatility or risk could be impacted greatly across their portfolio if they don't have these things in place. So things like a health insurance plan, diversifying their income across different assets like stocks, real estate, cryptocurrencies, different businesses, that all acts to kind of diversify and spread out risk and protect their overall wealth and well-being, including themselves. This rule of protection actually applies to individuals across any kind of wealth accumulation phase, rich, middle class, poor, does not matter. But the people that with more money obviously have a better opportunity to protect their overall wealth and well-being, whereas people in the middle class or poor may not have the means financially or the education available to them to understand what they need to do and actually act upon it. Bringing it up to number 4 is the rule of minimal savings, and that rich people keep a lot of money in their investment accounts and not in savings because they have resources generating them more returns than you would in a savings account. They have a better or more kind of overachieving risk tolerance. They understand that if they make money here or there, they can up the risk, up the ante because they have more wealth to back it up. And they have other forms of protection. Again, we have insurance policies, diversification of income. So they don't need to have their money in a savings account because at the end of the day, a savings account is a way for the bank to make money and not you. When you put money into a savings account, if you're rich, middle class, poor, does not matter. A bank is going to take that money and make loans with it to other customers and earn interest on their loans. They're going to get that money back from those loans and pay you a little bit of percentage for interest. And actually, you're going to get further and further behind with all your money in a savings account versus actually actively investing in stocks, real estate, businesses, whatever you want to do. This means that when you keep your money in a savings account, like a lot of poor or middle class people actually do, it's putting you further and further behind and putting you at a disadvantage compared to the rich, where they understand saving is a losing proposition long term. You have to be actively investing, trying to beat inflation, trying to beat the market, and generating more bang for your buck than the savings account rates of 0.5% or 1%. Number 5 is the rule of expectation. And this focuses on how people may not stay happy or content after they get a salary boost, they change jobs and get a raise. Everything kind of adapts and they get kind of complacent again with what they're making. They may think, I'm making 80 grand a year here, but now I should be making 90, or I'm making 100 and I should be making 120. And they tend to compare themselves to where they used to be, what they think they should know, what they expect to make. And they also compare themselves to other people around them. The rich don't do that. They just focus on what they can control now, taking the money that they have and making it kind of go out and work for them and bring on the best kind of return instead of focusing on the negative and focusing on what they should be making or what they could be making elsewhere. This also speaks to like the societal and cultural values people have. That people think that if you make a lot of money, you have X number of dollars in your income stream, you should be driving a certain type of car, or living in a certain kind of house in a certain neighborhood, or buying fancier clothes. Those are society's expectations of being rich, when in reality, a lot of rich people often dress very plainly. They have very moderate to kind of average cars. They don't live in extravagant houses. They have the appearance of being middle class, but they actually have crazy bank accounts that back up being rich. On to number 6, the rule of privacy. Now, rich people understand that they choose to work and build assets their whole lives, then hopefully at the end live a more subtle or private kind of lifestyle, even though they can afford to buy more things we just talked about because of society expects it. But they understand that creating a value system and sustainably living off of the investments that they have created over the years, building asset bases such as real estate, stocks, bonds, and even businesses, can provide long-term generational wealth for them and their family, and an income source they can rely on forever. Poor people, middle class, do not understand this concept very well. They just focus on making as much money as they can, and their spending habits also reflect that as well. They just keep spending more and spending more when they make more, so they never build up that asset base that they need to comfortably retire and kind of go off into the sunset and control their own time. And number 7, the rule of obligation. This refers to rich people trying to reduce the amount of debt that they owe in terms of mortgage debt, credit card debt, consumer debt, because they understand the value of having that financial freedom and how much debt impacts their ability to be financially free. Okay, having a lot of debt can create significant financial burden on anyone, but also limits your ability to make choices about how you want to live your life, where you want to be, how much you want to spend on other things that really add value to your life. When you have the car payment, when you have your student loan that are kind of sitting on there as kind of bad debt, those debt payments consume a large portion of your income, which makes it harder to also to save for retirement, save for your kind of ideal lifestyle and that point where you hit financial freedom. So the problem that a lot of middle class and poor people do is they don't have a way to reduce or eliminate the debt. Rich people free up more of their income and have more control over their financial future by eliminating this debt, this consumer debt, as quickly as they can, and often borrowing against good assets to invest in better assets and using leverage in a responsible way. And I just want to rehash that it's not bad to have debt, but it depends on the kind of debt that you do have. If you have good debt, where you're investing, you're kind of building a business for yourself, you're investing in you, those are kind of good kind of debt things. When you have credit cards from trips and cars and shopping, that's bad debt that's not bringing you a long-term return on your money. You're kind of going into kind of more financial burden on yourself for no reason. So for you right now here today, one of the easiest things you can do to become more rich, this change is very small, is just to start saving a small portion of your income. Even small amounts saved regularly will add up to huge amounts over time, thanks to compound interest and helping the money grow. You can also set a budget and allocate a certain percentage. I recommend anywhere from 10 to 20% of your income. That's what I like to do, into savings and investing, and then create that financial cushion, which is going to be the pillar and foundation for building your long-term generational wealth. Finally, it's also really important to consider cutting some expenses, some of the things that you don't need, the unnecessary frivolous spending items in your life, and live a little bit low below your means to help increase your savings and shave down the time it takes you to be financially free and ultimately retire or be rich. And there's one more thing you need to know. It's about how to limit the mistakes you make with your money. In fact, there are 10 major mistakes that you must avoid at all costs to keep generating wealth. And you can find all 10 in the next video after smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel. Check it out right here.